Hey there, and welcome back to Utility Sports Plus. We have some very, very exciting news around the NBA. There's a lot happening. There's a lot to digest. There's a lot really to break down, to be quite frank with you. And we're going to go ahead and jump into Adrian Wojnarowski, who currently has some of the latest news. Looks like free agency guard Trey Jones has agreed to a 2-year deal worth about $20 million. I think in terms of an actual value standpoint, that makes a lot of sense. I like this from the perspective of the the San Antonio Spurs are a team that you have to consider as a team that is going to seek out drastic improvement from not only this year but heading into the next couple of seasons. This is something that you need to monitor, to be completely transparent. So Trey Jones was a player that we had to consider as one of those guys that should be in the plans moving forward. Another guy, too, that ends up signing is restricted free agent Cam Johnson. We figured that Brooklyn was going to push a lot of the chips forward. They signed him to a 4-year, 108. I like this. I really do like this for them. I think it makes a ton of sense for Cam Johnson to really be a part of those true long-term plans. They went into the intent with the Kevin Durant trade and said we're going to go ahead and move forward with a guy like Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges, which is exactly what they've done so far. Their plan is for those two to be the centerpieces of the franchise. So, kind of looking at it from that perspective, I do like that. We're going to continue to break down and see exactly what's happening around the association. That is something that we have to consider at this point. I really like where we're at so far. Free agency has not been disappointing in any capacity at all. I love what we've seen so far. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves have, been quietly having a nice one, retaining Nickeil Alexander-Walker, the ability to go get Troy Brown, which I've never been a big Troy Brown guy, but at the end of the day, he has, shown some major improvement in his game. He's a plug-and-play player. He's a guy that is going to fit Minnesota in terms of providing a little bit of perimeter shooting, which he did end up finding his stroke. So a lot of great stuff there. I'm going to go ahead and continue to refresh and find the latest content on what's going on. So I just want to make sure that we are all set here at this point. We should have all things a go here right now. Let's see. I need to continue to, and I gotta edit this. That is not something that I want. Hopefully I don't have any viewers in here just yet as I continue to make sure that my stream is good to go down the line here. Should be good to go. Still 0 followers. That's good to see. 0 viewers currently in the stream. There's too many people watching the good channel here. So let's do this. Since I have no one in here, it doesn't actually matter what I'm doing. I'm going to delete that upcoming. Understand and delete forever. So that one should not go live anymore. All right, well, let's see what else we have popping. Because it's probably going to be a little bit tougher to get some traction under this kind of channel at this point. So looks like that one is gone. Okay, now we're cooking with gas. Should be good to go from this juncture. All right, so now we are a go. So now I can actually fully function and kind of take a look around at what else is truly happening. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm pulling this up. I'm going to check on Shams and see if there's anything cooking with him. So it looks like Gabe Vincent ends up signing that deal with LA, 3 years, $33 million. So Gabe Vincent ends up being a Laker, which that's a little bit surprising. A little bit surprising that Gabe Vincent ends up becoming a Laker. Not something that I really had on my radar. I thought he was going to be going back to Miami. That was kind of my intensive thought here, that that's where they were going to be going. Gabe Vincent had a phenomenal run with the Miami Heat. So now we have to ask ourselves, why did the Lakers use up their space for him? That's a tough one. That's a really, really tough one, considering, the Lakers to begin with didn't have money, and then they used up the remaining space to go after Gabe Vincent. And we're going to progress down a little bit further, talk about some of the other deals. Kyrie's deal was a big one. That is something that we have to consider, that Kyrie Irving ends up re-upping with the Dallas Mavericks. Reggie Jackson getting the 2-year, $10 million deal. That one I'm slightly shocked on, but not 100% shocked on the fact that Reggie Jackson ends up netting a 2-year deal. He was a non-factor in the postseason, so I'm not completely shocked there. So it looks like we have some more news. Wojnarowski just broke another signing, so we are going to pop back over to him. Let's get over there, and we got a couple. Oh boy, we got some big news. Joe Ingles signs a 2-year, $22 million deal with the Orlando Magic. So the Magic go ahead and make a move. I do not like that. I do not like that at all. Watanabe ends up signing with the Suns. Yeah, Watanabe is not. Oh boy. Yeah, Joe Ingles. Nice tertiary playmaker. I mean, they gave him a lot of money. 2-year, 22. He's serviceable, but to me, I don't see that as a real nice outcome for them. Let's continue to check in and see what else is going on. Add some teams in here. Portland Trailblazers. Lakers, Orlando Magic, Minnesota Timberwolves, Miami Heat, and we are going to just keep chugging. We're going to keep staying live. It does not matter. Okay, so we actually have some people in here. Let's break down a little bit of what's happening. So let me know in the comments section below some of the signings you want me to kind of review, because we have a couple of them currently that are churned in. The Joe Ingles contract is not one that I'm really excited about in any capacity. I think he's a serviceable role player, decent playmaker, but I just feel his best years are far behind him. Reviewing Trey Jones once again, 2-year, 20. Cam Johnson's deal of the 4-year, 108 to stay with Brooklyn. This one I think makes a lot of sense. I absolutely do think it makes sense. Cam Johnson's been a good, consistent player, good shooter. There's a lot of things to love about his game. Scrolling a bit further, Jakob Poeltl's 4-year, 80 to stay with the Toronto Raptors. That's a lot of money for Jakob Poeltl, but they deem that he is absolutely worth it. I know a lot of people in the Toronto area think that Jakob Poeltl's a darn good center, which is true for the most part, but that's a lot of money for him. Chris Middleton's re-upping on the 3-year 102 is another contract we saw coming. We knew that was going to happen. It just, all the signs pointed to him staying. The one that probably surprises me the most is Yang getting 3-year 26. I don't like that contract. Absolutely do not like that contract for Yang. I think that's way too much money. He's not a player that really elevates you as a whole. And I think Yang is one that's I'm not super impressed with. I think this is probably the worst contract that's been handed out so far. Looking at what Cleveland has done so far, they've paid out a lot of money to LeVert. They paid out a lot of money to Yang. To me, that's not it. Absolutely not it. Metu going to the Suns is one I do like. Likely signed for the minimum. Javon Carter, another player that ends up signing a deal where 3-year 20, a little bit steep for him. Just the fact that I feel he's more, a guy that can be a nice contributor on a playoff team. But, 3-year 20, not good. He's a good player. He's a good player. So I guess in this market, I have to reset my expectations for, what players deserve what. A little more difficult there. So Watanabe's deal. Looks like there was some recruiting that had been done. Let's back it up to the very top here. And Joe Ingles' contract. Let's go back to Shams and see. Shake Milton agrees to a deal with Minnesota. That is one that's actually, I think, an under the radar signing. I'm kind of curious to see. Let's see, 44.4 3-point shooter. Yeah, Watanabe. Man, the Phoenix is doing well. Phoenix is putting the correct playmakers in place. Phoenix is absolutely doing that. Very nice job by that organization getting things put together here. I'm impressed. I'm absolutely impressed on what we've seen so far from them. I'm going to make sure that my microphone settings are actually correct now that we don't have anyone in here. Okay, perfect. The cancellation. Yeah, Shake Milton's deal with Minnesota. 2-year 10 for Shake Milton. I think that's a good signing. It's a very good signing here. Now let's take a look at Shake Milton's splits from the last couple of seasons. Yeah, he's been solid. He's been absolutely okay. He's 26 years old. He's going to be 27, I think, when the season starts. Take a quick pop. There's some of the shooting splits that he's had over the last couple of seasons. Let's see, last 3 years in totality, he's shot 35, 32, and 30, nearly 38 threes a game, or in terms of actual percentage. Scored 13, 8, and 8. Yeah, I like the Shake Milton signing. I like him coming to Minnesota. I'm pretty excited to watch him. I think that's one of the more underrated signings that you're going to have. The Shake Milton making his way over to the Timberwolves. We knew that it was going to be pretty quiet for Minnesota in terms of what they were going to have to offer and what some of the moves were going to be. A team that's been oddly quiet has been the LA Clippers, which I think there might be a move that's on its way. I think that's still coming yet. Let's see from Shams here. We have nothing further from Shams.